Light and right, I want to talk about why this is so important today. I have students that come in and they are struggling to sing high with any kind of substance. They either have basically falsetto, a breathy light sound, or they have squeeze and a little bit of push as they go up higher. It varies depending on the student. Sometimes they have a little bit of push, but they're getting into mix, but it's not quite refined enough, or other times they have a lot of push and it's just either completely breathy falsetto or loads of squeeze. It really depends where they are as a singer in terms of their ability, but often they'll say, well, light and right, I can't seem to build on it, it doesn't really work for me, is there another way? And when I hear this, I kind of hear a few, basically a misunderstanding about the voice. Here's the thing. Regardless of the volume of sound you're making, whether it's a really quiet sound, a really full out mix, the sensation of release you'll feel is identical. What I mean by that is the mechanism that works in your larynx to essentially sit the voice so that you feel on top of it, so you feel free and you feel like the sound is just escaping out of you rather than you're holding on to it. The mechanism that releases you higher, regardless of whether it's a heavy mix or a light mix or a completely legit light head voice sound, the mechanism that releases you is the same. So if you aren't familiar with that sensation enough that you can make a light sound that's free, it's impossible that you're going to be able to make a free mix sound, or it's very, very unlikely, since once you lean into mix, there's more sensation going on, there's more musculature engaging. If you can't have precision when there's less musculature and there is less volume and just less going on, then when you add to that more musculature, there's no way that you're going to find a refined process, because even at a low volume with a light and easy coordination, you still can't find that precision and that release. So the reason light and right is so important is simply because it engages exactly the same muscles in terms of the coordination. So if you can't do it at low volume, you're not going to be able to do it at a high volume. It's as simple as that. So when we say, or we hear somebody say, well, light and right, adding to that doesn't really work for me, there's a misunderstanding there. There's a conception that light and right is somehow different to a full out mix. It is different, but it's not as different as most people think. The one part of the coordination of light and right is identical to full out mix. The only difference with mix is we engage a little bit more lateral squeeze and we compensate for that squeeze with a little bit more air pressure underneath. That's the only difference. The process of release is the same. So we have to find freedom and easiness, light and right first, and then add to it, because if we can't find it light and right, we're very unlikely, like I've just explained, to be able to find it full out in a mix. So you can start with just making, regardless if you're a guy or a girl, you can start out just making extremely light, easy sounds and try and figure out where is the exact point where something's going wrong. So if I just have in a speaking range, I go wee wee wee. If I try and take that up, wee 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 wee. If I can find that and fiddle around with it up higher till it's free, on top of the note, rather than wee 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 and grabbing. So once I find that sensation of release, I've found the right position for the note. So even when I open up and add more power, that position will be the same. The position of release will be exactly the same. So the reason light and right is so important is because it familiarizes us with the exact precise placement of that efficient, nice sound. If we can't find that exact precise placement, when we add to it, it's going to be squeezed and it's going to be kind of pushed a bit, because we aren't quite precise enough in the coordination yet, even on a small level, to have any hope of adding to it without squeeze and push. So a lot of this idea of coordinating the vocal folds is about finding much more precise coordinations. It's like the difference between if I take, like a butcher with a what do they call it? A cleaver versus a surgeon with a scalpel and a magnifying glass. The level of precision that the surgeon is working at is much, much higher. It's required to be, because he is doing something that requires a lot more skill. And that is really what we're looking for when we are looking for this heightened awareness of precision as we go up higher. The coordination needs to be a lot more precise, and light and right will really help you get there. Just finding that precise light place where you feel like you're still on top of the voice and gradually adding to that. If you look at my previous video about the nu exercise, that goes into some other details in regards to basically finding that more full out mix sound. If you combine that with some of the ideas in this video, you might get a better idea of how to find that freedom and add to that freedom without the push and the squeeze. Hope this has made some sense for you today, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.